All right, Chi-Town, we in the building. We got liftoff. This is the Self Luv Show. Why are black women the least likely to be married in America? Cue the show when you're ready, Brody.
Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Non-profit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use.
Fair use, y'all. Yes, sir. Share this link. Get it out there, please.
In entering upon this course of instruction, each of you should, so far as possible, lay aside for the time being all previous theories and beliefs. By so doing, you will be saved the trouble of trying
All the way through the show
to put, quote, new wine into old wineskins, end quote. Luke chapter 5, verse 37. If there's anything as we proceed which you don't understand or agree with, just let it lie passively in your mind until you have enjoyed the entire show. For many statements that would at first arouse antagonism and discussion will be cleared and easily accepted a little farther on. After the show is over, if you wish to return to your old beliefs and ways of living, you are at perfect liberty to do so. But for the time being, be willing to become as a little child, for said the Master in spiritual things, quote, except ye become as little children, ye shall in no wise enter into the kingdom of heaven, end quote. Matthew chapter 18, verse 3. If at times there seems to be repetition, please remember, the Self Luv Show is a lesson, not a lecture.
Yo, this one goes out to all those black queens, earths, bedrock, cornerstone, planet Earth, all of our portals, to the original Eve, to my mama dude and my ancestors, my lovely wife, Tasia, my big sister, Wendy, Genesis. We feel y'all. We're not your enemies. Y'all ain't ours. We know who is. Step by step, we're gonna get there together. It's gonna take some time for you to ponder this. Why, I wondered many times, should I slip my wrist? Why, I did some crimes I'd like to recompense. Why, I did some dimes I wish I could circumvent. Smoked so many dimes, sometimes couldn't make rent. Big ups, half block RNA establishment. Why, my old man went ghost although he had a mint. Why, Tory Wordsmith say some things just wasn't meant. I guess Gene sometimes 9 just had to vent. Needful things, even Stephen King's get bent. One blunt's too much, 1 million ain't heaven sent. Take one at a time after you repent. Then watch your light shine on your accomplishments. It might take some time, I might admit. It's gonna take some time, I might admit. Yeah. Southside representative. That'll do it. It ain't perfect, but what is? You're fortunate enough to have an earth in your life. Wrap your arms around it. Yeah. Half block. We'll be starting shortly.
And even in this instance, if I could be a service to a 9-year-old girl or a 19-year-old woman or girl who wants to be a woman, is to really remember that self-love is the best way that you can receive love from anybody else, because it's coming from you. A lot of times we forget that. We look externally for this love. We look externally for this feeling of validation and adoration and approval, and it has to come from within.
This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill, the story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want. You take the red pill, you stay in Wonderland. And I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
Self Love, make sure we stream it.
We are. Remember, all I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
I sent out the wrong link. Wow.
I'm just a kid from Chicago.
Self Love, vision.
I'm just a kid from Chicago.
Yes, sir.
Really the most.
I'm just a kid from Chicago. Chi-Town kids in the building. I'm just a kid from Chicago. Yes, sir. Welcome, welcome, welcome aboard. This is Chi-Town's very own, the Self Love Show, where we got two mottos. Motto number one is on earth as it is in heaven. Bing. Big ups to the creator. Big ups to the ancestors. Big ups to my mama Sky. Rest up. Our second motto is as above, so below. Right now we can be found right here, Malcolm exclusively, on our YouTube channel. This ain't that network. As we say, TATN. Yeah? TATN. This your co-host, and I am Millie, also known as one of the Delphs. What down, Chi-Town, and all. Repeat after he. I am greater than my excuse. I am greater than my excuse. I am greater than my excuse. Today is Hump Day, Wednesday, October 19th, 2022. As always, you cats can be anywhere in this magnanimous universe. But thankfully, we all Scooter chose to be here together. Here together. What down, brother Wordsmith? What you manifesting today, sir?
Love, you know me, Nine. Love. What you manifesting?
Ditto, brother. Pure, magnificent, magnanimous. Some say harsh, others say tough. But love just the same, good brother. Love just the same. Hey, what's been going on in your neck of the shot?
Bulls open their season tonight.
Yeah, Levine is on load management for game 1.
Yeah, well, yeah, you know, he was feeling good, and then right before his knees started getting pain, they said they had some real tough practices, you know, going into the season. So and they'd rather just have him for the end of the season.
Wow. Yeah, that's what's up.
Brother Kramer, chill in the cream room.
Yeah, he might not be able to hear us. Yeah, he just might not be able to hear us, but I don't know if you got his number. You can shoot him a text. All right, and as we get this done, I'm going to give you cats a breakdown on what could be expected on tonight's The Self Love Show. As always, we kick it off with the Self Love quote of the day. Then we have our More Growth and Development video. That's our platform. That's what we stand upon. Then, of course, Self Love and I were going to unpack 2 videos. The first is Tattoo Tyranny. We'll show a short clip and then decide if it's tyrannical or not. Feel free to chime in. Also, the Zoom link is in the chat, so if anyone will be able to want to participate in this discussion, click that link. We'll get you up here in about 20 minutes. And it's a big topic. And then, of course, we got our dome teaser, which is our riddle. And that's our dome teaser is, a way to strengthen our minds or our brains, because the brain is a muscle. Use it or lose it. Then, of course, today's topic, we got an interesting one. Why are black women the least likely to be married in America? So that's what we're going to unpack here today. Then we got our next week sneak peek. We'll tell you what we got lined up in store for next week. And then, of course, my personal favorite part of the whole shebang. And that's where this brother to my right summarizes everything in a metaphysical word of prose. Right off the rip, top of the dome, freestyle. And I always look forward to that. So I urge you cats to stick around to the very end. And, you'll get some freestyle from the wordsmith over there. The wordsmith over there.
No doubt.
But first, got any announcements, bro?
I want to say condolences to Brother Salik Kurum on the passing of his father.
Yeah, Salik, keep your head up. And condolences to you and yours. Papa Doo is in a much better place. And also condolences for Maurice Roberts as well. He buried his brother. Well, his brother from another mother passed, right?
Yep. Services are coming up.
Yeah, so rest up, Tim.
Yeah, Brother Tim.
Absolutely. And then we will have. I don't have any more announcements except you guys like, share, subscribe, post this on Facebook, tweet it, put it wherever you need to put it, text it to your buddies. because it's a hot topic we're breaking down here today. And let's hear it. It's interactive. Get in the chat it up. But enough of my yapping. I'll turn it over to this brother to my right so he can handle his business.
Welcome to the Self Love Show. We appreciate your attention greatly and spending time getting edutained. I don't even, that ain't a word. I'm making up shit. But welcome. As always, we have a very important video I want you to watch. It's the more growth and development platform which we are building the self-love nation off of. And before that, we always have the Self-Love Show quote of the day. A wise woman has much to say and yet remains silent. A wise woman has much to say and yet remains silent. That's an African proverb. And check this out. Silverback More Growth and Development Platform. Number 1, repair our nation via reparations. We demand our silver back. Number 2, to connect our breadwinners with our activists. And 3, show an accurate depiction of African American Chi-Town. 4, to shine a light on positive influence. 5, heal our community one person at a time. 6, to provide an unfiltered platform for our influencers. 7, recycle the black dollar. 8, to provide mentors for the mentorless. 9, to close the gap between us and our pink
9,
kinsmen.
we're closing the gap. All right, and then we have a 10th in the program.
Yeah, number 10 is protect our women and children by any and all means necessary.
That is actual, and that is factual. So you cats, if you didn't catch us last week, we had a guest in the building with over 25 years experience in the insurance game, working for some of your biggest carriers or vendors. Really gave us some great insight on insurance solutions for the underinsured Black community.
Yeah, it was great information. It was, chock full of it. Man, it was, whew. I advise you to go and check it out.
Absolutely. I'm shooting the correct link out. Give me some hubbub there as I complete this process.
Yeah, we have to put the blicks away and stop killing each other. We have to come together and grow. It's the only way we can get from under the white supremacy. It's of the utmost importance. So we're going to discuss why Black women are the least likely to be married in America. Go into it, break down some historical stuff. You know how we do.
Let them know they can pull up too, so links in the chat.
I don't see a link in the chat though.
Should be pinned. I must have put it in the wrong. I'll pin it Tell them the
Okay.
link's gonna be.
Yeah, the link.
Yeah.
The link is going to be in the chat, and if you want to pull up, agree, disagree, you know, it's not just going to be me and Nine tonight. We got a couple of guests going to come in, and we're going to have a panel discussion. Yeah. Quote, wise woman has much to say and yet remains silent. That's deep. We have to figure out how we can come together so we can make happen what we desire. But it all starts with coming together. We have to work as a unit. Pull it all together. It means the man and the woman. We have to figure out how to not be at war. I mean, all over the internet, it's Black women talking crazy about Black men, as well as Black men, so-called Black, talking crazy about melanated women. It's crazy. We have to figure something out and come together, because the basis of our civilization is the family. We have to pull it back together. We all know that there's been a lot of things done to put us in a split mode purposefully. And we have to recover all the way from that. I think some of the discussions that are being had, the ones that are by rational men and women, are really helping and expanding the situation. And just the bottom line, we got to pull it together. All we really got is us. And that's the truth of it all.
What the Bulls look like? Give them that phone number too, bro. I'll be up in 2.
Ready? Phone number
424-900-6945.
There it is. It's troll free. It's absolutely troll free. It's
424-900-6945.
Oh man, I butchered it. 424. It's absolutely troll free. It's going to be in the chat very shortly. Very shortly. It's going to be right there in the chat. And let's talk about it. That's what we're going to do real shortly here.
Yeah, and if you guys are gonna pull up, I'm gonna drop this this link in the chat right now. Make sure it's the right one. Mouthpiece link. See, wrong one. Tutorial. All right, let's get this in here.
Let's get these people in here so y'all can subscribe, hit the bell, share. Please share. It helps the algorithm. Let everybody know what we own and what we're doing.
All facts. All facts. So, all right. So you did the self-love quote of the day. All right.
Yeah.
And tonight is why are Black women the least likely to be married in America? We got some interesting data to unpack here today. This is a layered topic, very layered topic. I think it's gerund to rebuilding our community. We're going to get into the whys, take a look at the tape, get a look at the whys. So we'll go ahead and skip Tattoo Tyranny since we had a delay. Production, if you can go ahead and run into Pink on Pink Crime. Pink on Pink Crime. And then we'll get this ball.
Is that the second one?
Yeah, that would be the second one. Yes. Pink on Pink Crime. Appreciate you. Big ups to production. And you guys,
hello everybody, and thank you.
Please pull up if you so need to, but your cams need to be on. Cams need to be on.
All facts.
Hello everybody, and thank you for joining us. More upsetting news of gun violence around the country today, including a disturbing case of road rage. Police say two fathers got into an argument, pulled out guns, and ended up accidentally shooting each other's daughters. Stephen Fabian on a story that has even the local sheriff shaking his head.
A road rage clash between two dads ended in disaster after they allegedly wound up shooting each other's daughters.
What is scarier than one crazy driver with a gun? Two crazy drivers with a gun.
Police say the two dads got into a high-speed cat and mouse face-off on the highway. They say there were sudden stops, obscene gestures, even a bottle thrown at one car, until suddenly gunfire erupted. This dad allegedly opened fire and hit a 5-year-old girl in the leg. Cops say the other dad fired back as many as 8 times and hit a 14-year-old girl in the back.
I need help. This guy just shot my daughter. They shot my daughter in the leg. I know where they shot.
You can hear one of the wounded girls in the police body cam video.
Do I have to run in it?
This is one dad, Frank Allison. This is the other, William Hale.
You have the right to remain silent.
Facebook photos show Hale with his family, and this is Frank Allison's family. Both fathers have been charged with attempted murder.
There could have been 2 dead kids because of 2 stupid grown men.
You were pretty
Thanks.
outspoken about these guys during the press conference. Why?
When I first heard about it happening, I thought of the movie Dumb and Dumber. They don't shoot each other, they shoot kids that are in their vehicles.
If convicted, each dad could face up to 15 years in prison.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
All I can say is wow, because
That's pink on pink crime. They say that doesn't exist.
you pull out a weapon and shoot at somebody with your daughter in the car. I mean,
Yeah.
the first one, and then the other one returns fire.
I guess you have to at that point.
Yeah, I mean, you got a gun. Yeah, you got to try to protect yourself. But one decides. That's.
I know. So that's not really. What if they were pink? That one's pink on pink crime. We like to point that out because it gets swept under the rug quite frequently under the table.
Right. Yeah, the media don't like to put that part out there.
Savage, like you said, to be busting out there and you got your shorty in the car. That's savage.
Man, utmost of ignorance. That's for sure.
All right, small ups to those cats. Get your lives together, you know. All right, let's push past this. You guys like, share, subscribe. Tonight's topic: why are black women the least likely to be married in America? Today's dome teaser is: the more you take away, the more I become. What am I? Once again, the riddle is: the more you take away, the more I become. What am I? You cats type your solution to that in the chat if you've got the brains. Yeah, thumbs up out there, Self Love. The more you take away, the more I become. What am I?
Oh, there we go.
All right, he's got a thumbs up out there, and he's figured it out. He used his utensil, his noodle. He's typed something in the chat, and he is 100. You guys, so we'll give you the answer to that if you chat cats can't figure it out by the end of the show. But enough of the appetizers, Self.
Let's quench the self-love nation's thirst.
All right, we're going to roll this promo video, and we're going to jump on it and introduce our one guest who's got the cojones to speak on this topic, and then we'll go from there. Big ups. You guys, next week, self-love. Next week, we're going to cover why are black women the least likely to be married in America.
Uh-oh.
Got to make sure that we communicate as to the whys, why that happened.
Uh-oh.
You're harping on something insignificant right
Hey,
now.
B, we're going to get you up in a minute.
Happily ever after was short-lived.
We're gonna call each other names. That's real.
That's not a name. That's like a legitimate characteristic.
How did that work out?
I'm divorced. It didn't work out.
Bet YouTube will let us go in on that one and won't censor us.
I'm not sure.
Oh, that's true.
But, yeah, it's going to be a wonderful conversation.
According to the census, black women are far less likely than their white counterparts to get married.
People don't want to admit what the reality is. Professional black women are not making it up.
It is. You know, we're going to touch on
See it live.
the who, the what, the when, the where, and why. We'll get you some real data as the stats. And yeah, we're going to dig into the why.
Got to make sure that we communicate as to the whys, why that happened.
Yeah, we're going to, cover this from all angles, bro. What say ye?
It's going to be a great conversation.
Sometimes we hear that black women are too strong in a relationship.
I guess my question is, why do you have to go through training in order to date and get married?
Well, I'm still single, so if I'm still single, I need to look at myself.
TATN.
It's a social catastrophe that we're in the midst of with respect to black men. Imprisonment numbers, the unemployment numbers, underperformance academically. These are crises.
Inviting all women to join it. And if anybody want to jump on the panel, you guys are welcome.
Speak your mind.
There's no other ethnic group anywhere advocates annihilating their own race.
Speak your mind. We don't debate here, but we will have a what discussion.
Because of the strong will of the African American woman, it come across many times as disrespectful.
Yeah.
Then at 34, he met his future wife, Joyce. He was out of work with only a high school education and living at home with his parents.
And I told her that I was in barber school and I was going to be finishing up maybe in 2 more months.
Wilson says his wife took a chance on him.
We've been married 6 years.
So be looking out. We'll get the promo video out accordingly.
Hey, bros, what's going on? This is Cotton. Be sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, because subscribing makes you feel good.
Do you still have them? I got mine.
All right. We are back. So y'all see what we got lined up here for you today. Just sending out a Twitter. All right. Download Twitter. Please like, share, subscribe. Let's get them in the building.
Yeah.
You can always call in 424-900-6945. 424-900-6945. That number's what?
Troll free.
Absolutely troll free. All right. And so we do have one guest coming up. that pulled up, so we're going to break this down for you. The purpose of the show, as always, is to tell our unfiltered history. Big up, Swakil. Unfiltered history, to have our voice out here. Tonight we're going to unpack why are black women the least likely to be married in America, and then solutions. This is a solutions-based show. Give you some brief stats before we introduce our guests. Only about half of U.S. adults, this is U.S. adults, 51% are currently married. The share is highest amongst Asians, 61% are married, and lowest amongst African Americans, 31%, with whites being married at a clip of 55%, and your brown Hispanics, 48%. At nearly every age, divorce rates are higher for blacks than for white women, and they are generally lowest amongst Asians and foreign-born Hispanic women. I guess that means they haven't been Americanized. Recent demographic projections suggest that these racial and ethnic gaps in marriage and marital dissolution will continue to grow. By 2020, 55% of black 40-year-old women, compared with 83% of white women, had ever married. So 83% of white women by the age of 40 had been married at some point. 55% of black women by 40 have been married. For the cohort born in 1990, white women are literally twice as likely to be married by age 30. Here's a fun fact for you brothers out there. Black men are the second overall demographic to be married in the U.S. That's going to be a show for another day. A lot of that will overlap tonight. So right now in the building, we got Bernard Kramer. He's a friend of the show, and he's actually an author, lifetime educator, Black Thought Generator. His book, The Weaponization of Hip Hop, we unpacked on this show. Definitely suggest you cats go out there, do yourself a favor. I know his time's generally limited because he's on the East Coast. So what up, B?
What's up, brother? It's Who Stole the Soul, man. Get a whole title.
Oh, yeah. Who Stole the Soul? The Weaponization of Hip Hop. You're right. Who Stole the Soul? I read that book, man. Great book, bro. Cover to cover, man.
I appreciate you, man. I appreciate y'all still doing y'all thing.
Yes, sir.
And I'm glad you switched the hat out.
See, just because you mentioned it, I got to pull out the flag next week, bro. Just because you mentioned it. Yeah, I hate to be that guy.
He said,
How y'all doing, though, man? Y'all good?
Yeah,
yes, sir.
Sure.
Yeah, God is great. Nice shirt, too, Self Love.
Welcome
nice
again.
Shirt.
Oh, appreciation.
Yeah.
Very nice shirt.
Yeah, it is.
Dashiki.
It's,
yeah, definitely. So I want to just jump into this, and you guys, if you want to pull up, the link is in the chat. We'd love to hear from you. And I'm gonna have you break down some things because I know you study stuff like this, B. But just to kind of get the conversation going, many of us, meaning foundationally Black Americans, are unfortunately products of broken homes. I'm kind of jumping ahead of myself, way ahead of myself. So, you guys, give me a reason. I'll start with Bernard. Give me the biggest reason in your mind, the biggest reason why Black women are not marrying. The biggest reason.
I would say the biggest reason is we're at war, and so when you're a people that's being targeted with oppression, the same oppression that Africans around the world are being targeted with, the manifestations are going to occur within every vein of your existence. And that includes your relationships, how you relate to one another. And so I don't blame Black men or Black women. I look above that. I mean, we're pretty much suffering from the same sickness. and being only 150 years removed from plantations, we have a lot of symptoms of that oppression, of that, what do you want to call it, of that forced servitude that we're still dealing with. I mean, it's only a century and a half later. And so even with it being a century and a half later, on top of that, they use every apparatus they have access to make certain that the status quo continues, that we remain on the bottom. And if we're experiencing dysfunction and disunion in our relationships, I mean, that just kind of feeds into it. So before we go into specifics, I mean, I would definitely say, I mean, it's just a manifestation of being at war.
That's well said. And so you're talking residue trauma, but I'm going to push back a little bit.
I'm talking
we
about
don't
now.
debate here.
Not residue.
And then
Still at war.
And then I throw it to you, So B, what would you say to someone who says, well, 50 years ago, 75 years ago, we were more married than white people?
I would say that we were all we had. And I think it was more or less survival then for us to remain together. Survival. On top of that, we were more religious. And I know you mentioned that Mexican women from south of the border come over here and they remain married. That doesn't necessarily mean that they were married. They were happy in those marriages, but they remained married because they were forbidden to get divorced. And so even back then, we were more traditional, especially 50 years ago. It was almost forbidden, and it was definitely a black eye in the game and a stigma that came with divorcing, being part of a divorce. But now it's kind of like it's almost in style. Till sickness and death, till death do us part, does not mean a thing. It's just kind of like this. All of it is kind of like this consumerist, this instant gratification culture. You know what I mean? People can jump in and out of relationships, jump in and out of a marriage. I mean, you're not happy with it or whatever. He's not fulfilling this, whatever superficial need. She's not fulfilling this superficial need. All right, well, we divorced. I'm gonna go do something else. And you think about it, our parents would stay together for the kids, just to make sure that the kids had a stable household. Like I know so many households where the parents just stayed together just for the sake of the kids. And as soon as the kids out the house, all right, we can go our separate ways. No.
Well, it's funny. I said this in a chat room, Mav Hoffa's chat. Y'all check that out. They unpack some pretty nice stuff over there. Basically what I'm getting from you, and well, here's what I said. I said, black people are in a imagine if we were in a boat, and then you got this man steady drilling holes in the boat as we're bailing the water out, and then everyone's saying, bail faster, you ain't bailing fast enough, and the more we bail, the more holes they're putting in the boat, to your point about, we're at war. And I'm thinking maybe our people were more conscious of the fact that we're at war back in those days when they decided to keep the family together and, stay as a unit. But Self Love, I'm going to throw it to you, though. In your mind, what's your number one reason why black women are the least married in the United States?
State of being independent. That's the greatest.
I am independent. I make more money. My bad. Go ahead, bro.
Yeah, they were given the opportunity through welfare to not, have to have a man, physically there and providing or what have you. And then along that, we are at war with each other. The war is from without and within. Black men and women seem to be at this point in time at war.
So we had two interesting number one reasons why. Mine was more aligned with Bernard's. Not saying yours is, not factual. And we'll get into maybe why they feel independent. And, maybe we'll save that for when we have women up here for the next show, where that, comes from. And we'll unpack some of that tonight. All right, let's push on. And you guys interact in the chat. If you got any questions or comments, put it in there. We'll address it. And you can also text or call 424-900-6945. We'll be bringing up you guys' interesting topics to this topic. So let's push on to your point, self-love, and I'll start with you. Are black women, and you saw it in the video, and in the promo video, are black women, are our sisters, too bossy, or is it more that are black men mama's boy suffering from the baby boy syndrome?
Well, it kind of goes hand in hand, because if you remove the man from the household, the mother is in, complete control, and she's raising the son if the father's not allowed to, be there per se. So it's a trip. These younger generation than us, they were like, they worshiped their mother because that's who was there. And they were brought up by mainly women, and that's what they were taught, and that's what they learned. And they act feminine as a result.
Interesting. So you're saying it's a combination of both. How about you, Brother Kramer?
Just to go back to the independent piece.
Yeah.
I always think about the dynamic, like nothing has really changed. Again, we're 150 years removed from chattel slavery. And so you think about the plantation dynamic, where the plantation owner would drive a wedge between the man and the woman, the man and his family, and basically render the woman dependent totally on the master for everything, for subsistence, for food, to protect the kid, to protect the family, and would literally depict and remove the black man as a protector of the family, or the provider for the family, by pulling his nuts off, doing whatever, basically emasculating that man in front of the mother and the kids. I am the father now. I'm your father. I'm the daddy now. This man can do nothing for you. And so you fast forward to the day, very intentional in terms of, black men being dehumanized, being criminalized, being placed in these jails, being undereducated. I kind of resent the statement from that brother that said, we're underperforming academically at the beginning of the video. We're not underperforming. Our schools are under-resourced, understaffed, and we're being totally whitewashed, assimilated, and socialized in our schools. Right. And so they're feeding us food that does not speak to who we are in terms of growth. So there is no academic gap. But anyway, getting back to it, we literally the black man is being cast, even in media, corporate media, useless, hapless, a minstrel, basically, deserving of a woman, barely able to take care of a woman. I don't look at black women as being bossy. I look at them as having expectations. And I look at a lot of us, and many times, as not fulfilling them. Because you think about the black mother, my mother used to nag the mess out of me, you know what I mean? Because she had expectations. And we needed that. Our black mothers knew what the world was for us outside of that door. And so they tried to build us up. And for a woman, it's going to be nagging. She's going to be bossing you around, telling you what to do. But if you have a woman or a wife or whatever that's not nagging you, she don't care about you. Trust and believe. You have a girlfriend that's not nagging you or expecting things of you, nagging you or having expectations. However you want to word it. Some men say it's nagging, it's different strokes for different folks. I've been in relationships, I definitely called it nagging, but expectations. And it's okay for a sister to have expectations of a man. Sometimes we get so downtrodden as men, and we are oppressed as hell. And so it's hard as hell out there. Me being 2% in education, I come home tired as hell every day. So the last thing I would want to hear from a girlfriend, of course, is somebody nagging me, quote unquote nagging me, or just in my ear or whatever, with a whole bunch of stuff. But being single and fighting this battle, whatever, sometimes I wish I did kind of have some of that quote unquote nagging in my ear. You know what I mean? Because I do need that push, and I know that I'm not going to be the best of who I'm capable of being as a man until I find my counterpart, not somebody to complete me, but that woman or whatever. And if she's not pushing me to be who I'm capable of being, then I don't really necessarily need her in my corner. Just like I would be pushing her. But yes, it's independence. That's literally the way. That's the setup. Our women are set up to be independent, which is why they're now. You go to U of I. We just left U of I not too long ago. Me, Cortez, and Al. Is exponentially more black women down there than black boys. And it was, and I didn't notice it, but when we were down there, it was way more women than black men then.
Yeah.
Way more. And so it's worse now today.
I noticed it.
And so it's worse. Yeah, of course you did. But it's worse today,
It's like shooting fish in a barrel.
Way worse today. Man. Yeah. And so who's going to the corporate world and getting these high paying jobs? And where are we, where are the black men going now? And so once the black women get these jobs and they getting paid or whatever, black men still make more in terms of having those positions. But it's tough out there. It's tough both ways.
Well said, brother. And I agree with you 99.99%. I do want to, I got some comments in the chat but yeah, my mom, rest her soul, may she rest in peace. She was definitely strong in that she had to play both roles. And, we were coming up in the 90s, man, 80s and 90s. But should there not be a gear that shift once they're married to a man and have an understanding that I'm not raising a son, this is my husband or boyfriend?
You asking me?
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, if a woman is marrying you, it's because I would hope it's because she respects you as a man, and especially as a husband, especially as a man, but as a husband. But there's a way to approach every conversation and even question it. If you're questioning something that a man is doing in a household, there's a way to approach that where it's not disrespectful or condescending, or you trying to basically, what's the word I want to quote unquote emasculate. But sometimes as men, we got to look at ourselves too. Because a lot of men, they come in relationships just because you have a wife doesn't mean you're not a misogynist. And there's some smart women out here. You know what I mean? I've had some very smart girlfriends, and in my 52 years, at least two that I regret not marrying because they were very smart women. I just wasn't ready. I didn't want to deal with the nagging or somebody trying to hold me accountable and this and that. And so I went about my way, doing my immature thing. But yeah, a woman should approach it different. Just like a man, you don't go to your woman. Number one, you got to listen. But two, there's a way to approach your woman, when you have a conversation that you want to present to each other. It's called respectful communication. So that goes both ways.
Absolutely. Reciprocity. So I have a female that said, as a black woman, I feel like a lot of us are very masculine. Now, this female is of the current generation, just getting out of U of I, around that age. I feel like a lot of us are very masculine, and many of us have not figured out how to turn it off, nor are we aware of it. This can cause conflict in relationships to the point where men don't want to deal with that, so they'd rather deal with women of another race who aren't masculine, who are more feminine, and have an understanding of understand the value of having a man. Many of us black women have been raised to be independent from an early age, considering the amount of broken homes in the black community and high incarceration rates.
That's a mouthful. And I respect what she's saying. I definitely respect her thoughts, and they're definitely valid as I don't know what. But that goes back to women being raised to, or basically being cultivated to be independent. In the society, we just talked about the number of women in school being elevated to these jobs and this and that. But if you're talking about the hyper masculinity, look at the media. Look who the top female rappers are today. The ones that they boost up to the top. And what do they promote? Hypersexuality, hyper aggressiveness. I'll date rape a man. You know what I mean? Those are actual lyrics. I date rape these dudes or whatever.
Yeah.
And, women clapping and they reciting these lyrics. But on top of the societal issues, on top of what's happening with the oppression, all of these scenarios are just not like, this stuff that just happens to be happening. You know what I mean? This stuff is
right. Facts.
So you're talking about, like she just said, I mean, she feels that women need to be independent, just like the woman on the plantation. They had no one to protect them. You know what I mean? So they had to do what they had to do in order to protect their children, in order to protect themselves. And sometimes, that leaves the black man out. And on top of that, it wasn't black women that ran to white men first. It was us running to white women first, because we were the first to be elevated and integrated into that corporate world, and for it to be acceptable, like we had won our prize. To have that white woman. So
that was mainly promoted and put together because it was the so-called celebrity that was doing a lot of that. So that was all by design as well.
Oh yeah. So celebrity, the sports figures. You look at the Texas, the U of I's. What's on the sideline? With those brothers down there, those big black bucks, strong, well-strapped bucks. All these white girls, the coaches' daughters. The boosters' daughters, the boosters. That's all that's down there. You know what I mean? They're literally catering to the athletes that are going to the league. And so it's all a big setup, man. But what she just said is so valid. I mean, it just kind of speaks to the need to have these conversations, because how do we overcome it? And I think you said it already. We overcome it by understanding it first. Understanding what's happening. Why are we? Why do our women feel like they have to protect themselves and be independent? And why is a lot of our men, to be honest with you, why is so many men dropping the ball? And again, I'm not blaming either the man or the woman, because I understand that these are all symptoms of the larger issue, us being at war. And so even like I just said in the videos, corporate media, how are black men cast? It's weak, it's menstrual, you know what I mean? Materialistic, drug addicts, everything that you can think of, negative, dehumanizing, devaluing. That's what the black man is depicted as. And just talking to these, being in the schools, I talk to the young men and the young, they don't like each other in a lot of cases. Like for real. Like, these girls act like, these little nasty, all they want to do is fight. And if you meet a 30-year-old black sister or whatever, like I think like the one you just got finished getting the quote from, they don't like the men their age because they act like Lil Yachty. Or Lil Yachty or Kodak Black, like they literally.
Or the one that was dancing with the devil, literally dancing with the devil.
Lil Nas X, they definitely
Lil
like
Nas X.
I've avoided on purpose watching that video. I have not seen
I've never seen it either.
Yeah, it'll burn an image in your brain. Don't watch it. I watched it. I watched it. I had to watch it. I regret it. All right, we got Jose White in the chat said things have changed. Women don't respect men anymore. Again, it's layered. Why don't they respect women? And then we got to qualify that. Many women don't respect men anymore.
Yeah, it's not all. That's definitely.
It's both ways. We're both being devalued in corporate media. Both of us.
Yeah.
And so would you respect, if you're somebody that's coming over to this country and you consume, let's say, 2 years worth of BET, MTV, and the urban radio stations in every city, you've consumed all that
World
media.
Star Hip Hop.
Exactly. You coming over here to the United States, would you respect black men and women?
Hey, I had a passenger in my Uber when I was doing Uber rides. He was from India or something, told me the same thing, like he didn't know I existed. I mean, he was over here visiting, didn't know I existed because of what you said, the programming they're receiving before they even get here. DJ Grilla, big ups DJ Grilla. He said men require love, women require security.
Yeah, I think we both require love. I'm pretty sure of that. I want love. And I'm pretty sure women want to be loved. But yeah, I mean, as a man, I do think the impetus is on us to protect our women. So yeah, if they have a man, if they have a husband in the house, I would think one of those expectations would be security. That is our job as men, to protect not only our children, our wives, but our communities. And we're dropping the ball on all three right now.
It's definitely on our platform, the More Growth and Development platform. We are definitely dropping the ball, and we're going to get, dig more into that as we go along. So, man, y'all are unpacking it. All right, and if you do pull up respectfully, because that's how we roll. All right. So back to the broken homes issue, and I think we touched on this. Many of us are products of broken homes. Does this play a role? I think we kind of went over this, but let's talk about that. When we say broken homes, generally we're raised, by a strong single black woman, and maybe there's limited interaction with our dads. So can you guys unpack that a bit?
Yeah, I wouldn't say that when you say broken homes, I say our homes were broken.
Yes.
And the first thing I think about is
Yes.
the 80s crack epidemic. And that was literally atomic bombs being dropped on every black community in the United States. We haven't recovered to that. And as a matter of fact, we're still dealing with the residuals of that. Just like in Japan, they're dealing with the residuals of those actual atomic bombs. And so our homes have been broke. People that are still in jail from crack, neighborhoods and communities that are still suffering from crack. You come into these schools as an educator and you see what the curriculum is like. And you talk about graduation rates, and again, they're always talking about these academic gaps or whatever, but it's really a resource gap and a misallocation gap because none of the resources and none of the education or empowerment is coming into our schools. And so the expectation is that only a few matriculate into college, and then out of that, only a few matriculate into the workforce to be further hyper assimilated and integrated into the workforce to become white people. With white sensibilities and white ideologies and basically materialist consumers. But in terms of broken homes, I mean, yeah, that's a symptom of being at war. I forgot what the percentage is, maybe y'all have it, but a lot of our men are literally sitting in jail rotting. And you talked about it too. I don't necessarily, how can I put it? It's more of a priority for our men to be I'll just say this, and you can call it an opinion or whatever, because I'm not going to bring up a whole bunch of numbers. I think it's a priority for our men to not like women so much, more so than it is a priority for our children to be African. And that's from working in community centers on the west side of Chicago and the south side of Chicago, working in these schools. And I'll see rainbow stickers up on the walls and these liberal white women and men, and they're telling children that, you might be experiencing thoughts of being a homosexual. But there's absolutely nothing in any of these schools or these community centers that speaks to, well, you're an African. And, in terms of your culture and who you really are and all of the stuff that was installed into you as a result of being here, a captive in this country, this is who you became. None of that stuff is being taught to our children, ever. And so you have our children that are being taught that they're less than, but nobody's reaching back and teaching them who they were before enslavement. But then at the same time, you're telling them that you're confusing kids, impressionable kids at a certain age, and telling them that most likely you're gay. These thoughts that you have of confusion, you're probably gay. That's the first thing out their mouth. And I've sat desk to desk and listened to these conversations with people.
Well, it's interesting you bring that up, because that would be less likely to be effective if our men were in the home.
Yes, indeed. And even still, it would be a battle because the schools have so much of a sway in your children's socialization. Parents are at work.
They have your children more than you do.
6 hours a day.
In some cases, what I mean?
Most cases.
Yeah.
All cases. 6 hours a day. You at work. When you come home from work, you're not. A lot of cases, unfortunately, and even in my home, my father tried, and I give my father kudos. He used to try to have us sit at the dinner table and talk every day, after school, and chew it up. But as them hours got rough at the job, him and my mother, no, that wasn't happening. We go to retire in front of our TV, eating food. And so the school, all of our socialization was occurring with our peers and in the schools. And so everything that they put into these schools and these community centers, that's intentional.
Yes.
Your kid, homosexuality is a reality. It's been around forever. That history, that's a whole other conversation. But it shouldn't be where you teaching my kids about sex at a certain age anyway.
Right. No type of sex.
No sex, exactly. And so they
none of the
catch them
sort.
real young. None of it, because you're confusing them. Like our kids are confused as hell.
The first 7 years of life, you're in a hypnotic state. You're in theta. So you're absorbing the information that's around, and that information shouldn't even really be presented at that time.
Yeah, so they're breaking our home.
All right.
If we understand that, huh?
No. Go ahead, bro. Go ahead. Complete your thought, and then I'm gonna push through because we got some stuff in the chat I want to address.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, man, I forgot what the thought was, but yeah, they are breaking our homes intentionally.
Yes.
The media and all that other business.
Well, speaking of the media, when I watch the news, every time I watch the news, and there's a brother out on the scene. I don't say every time, I qualify. 90% of the time, if not more. And there's a brother doing the news or out at the scene from Don Lemon or whoever. They seem to be, enjoying the homosexual lifestyle. And then those images of us, to your point, we're either thug killers or to be successful, it appears that the messaging is, we have to be, living that lifestyle. But let me, Mimi said the media doesn't help. It's all controlled and made to push their narrative. Jose White said a lot of women this is what I wanted to touch on, didn't see their fathers in the home. And to that point, Joey White, I don't know why I said Jose, my bad. To your point, Joey White, a lot of women didn't see their fathers in the home. A lot of men didn't see their fathers in the home. So it's creating a situation where women aren't learning, girls aren't learning how the interaction is between men and women, nor are the boys learning it.
They're learning from their mother. They're seeing the very strong mother doing what she does, raising the boys, and then they're extrapolated that into their relationships.
Yeah. So I mean, that's family socialization. It's unbalanced if it's just all women in the household. To speak to that, it's funny, man. You say that what Tony had alluded to. You turn on the TV on those rare occasions that I do.
Man,
black men are literally 6% of the population, 6%. And so out of that 6%, I'm sure less than 1% is gay. And so how do we wind up being over 50% of the depictions of gay men on television? You know what I mean? Like if that don't say intentional, I don't know what is. And me as an educator, again, we are 2% in the field, which is hostile as it is. Every job, I've been trying to get out of the schools, to be honest, since 2011. And every job that I apply for, working with black children, youth programs in the black community, whatever advocacy, there's a white woman at the helm.
But if you showed up like this, you should do it as a social experiment. You should show up like that and watch it. No, and just as a social experiment.
Dead serious. If I shaved off my goatee and waxed my eyebrows, took the bass out of my voice, put on a tighter suit, had some floods on or whatever, I would have had half them jobs. But since I went in and I was intelligent, I had my goatee. She probably saw the holes in my ears or whatever, and I spoke it, as an advocate of the black community and of black children, trying to empower them. Not somebody that's come in and feed them this DEI bullshit that you all are trying to shove down our throats. And I don't know how to dumb it down. You're 52 years old. How do you know how to dumb it down in an interview? Now you're just gonna be who you are. You know what I mean?
Can't teach an old dog new tricks. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So DJ Grilla said 15 years of marriage ain't easy at all, but it's well worth it. I wouldn't change it for the world. Yeah, and DJ Grilla, anything worth having, you're gonna work at it, and then that's the sacrifice. The word sacrifice means to make holy. And so, we deal with that as married men, and married women. I wish there was a woman on the panel, because that's part of the sacrifice, which makes your bond holy and it solidifies the family. And this has been going on since the dawn of time. I mean, Adam had a problem with Eve, if you want to go there. So, Mimi says she applied for a position today and they asked her for her sexuality and if she was a member of the community. See,
wait, what?
Yes. This is a person with a degree from the University of Illinois, and that comes up in the interview.
That's illegal.
Not anymore. That's,
wow.
Bro, at my job, when I got hired, they asked me, do you want to be classified as him, her, they, them, they? And I think I'm going to go back and say, I want to be classified as an alien. You know what I mean? Why not? All right, but let's push forward because I don't want YouTube to cancel us. You know, we already got a strike. So, all right, let's push forward. So we were talking about the broken homes, and so tonight it's why are black women the least likely to be married in America? I know your time is short, bro. We're gonna take a quick 6-minute respite, and we got about 4 more questions on this topic, and then you know, we'll have you just wrap it up, and just let me know when you got to go too, bro. You can always use this chat in here in the chat.
I see the chat.
This chat, you see it says chat down at the bottom on,
Yeah.
on the Zoom. Yeah, you can always let me know what's going on. But Self Love, if we can go ahead and roll, you guys, we're going to take a 6-minute break so we can stretch our legs, smoke our unmentionables or whatever it is that we're going to do during these 6 minutes.
Is there a God?
Absolutely, yes.
Have you ever
Go ahead.
seen anything supernatural or felt anything supernatural?
Yeah, I've seen some type of apparition before. But man, I used to get high a lot. You know what I mean? So
You haven't
I
seen
did
them
see-
since you got sober?
Nah. But listen, I don't even know if I was high that night.
Right.
But I used to smoke a lot of weed. But I remember seeing a white woman, a pale white woman with a flowy dress. But it looks like an image that I've seen in a movie before. So maybe it's just something but it was in my backyard and it was moving across. My backyard had a drop off, like a ravine. So it was no way for anything to walk back there. And I actually ran to the door and looked out there. And as it was traveling this way now, look. And when I looked at it to lock eyes, before we locked eyes, I slammed the door and went back inside.
Wow.
One time.
And I've seen a dark figure, like you're talking about. It's not the white figure. I've seen the dark, shadowy figure. I was high, may or may not have been, but yes, and it was just up against the wall. It wasn't like engaging with me, but it was a moment where I felt like it was getting conscious and stopping, and it was a shadow though, and it was like it was turning towards me. It was kind of weird. I was with you, Tori. That's why I was telling you the other day. I was like, man, I be seeing a lot of stuff around you.
You around me, you gonna see something, cause man, and especially now, man, I'd be like, what the? Real
There's some
talk.
weird stuff going on.
It ain't even that weird. It's just really frequency and what you can tune into, cause these vehicles that we are occupying at this point in time are not us, and it's only tuned in to a certain frequency.
You got 3 who can see.
In the 5 so-called senses that they say we have. I mean, but we have more senses than that, you know, outside of that, because everything has a dichotomy in this womb that we're in, this matrix.
So Vernon, have you ever seen a UFO?
Yeah, I saw an unidentified flying object before. I saw something that wasn't supposed to be when I was a kid. I wasn't by myself either. I was actually with my cousin, and we watched it walking from my house to her house, and we looked in the air. It was weird. It wasn't
nighttime.
Dusk.
Okay.
Turning dark. But it was a disc, but it was a disc. I'm going to ask her about it today too. It was a disc and it had fire, literally fire coming out of maybe 8 portals going around it like that. And I was just like, is this Gamron or something? Or one of these, one of these monster shows, sci-fi shows or something. It was weird. I remember it. I don't know what it was. A lot of times we think because it's unidentified, we think that it's something otherworldly. And this folks here in this world, we got some stuff that'll make you think you in Star Wars. But I did see the movie called The Island of Dr. Moreau back in the day. And I saw when they were mixing human beings with different animals, and they had an island of these different types of animals. And I was like, if they could do that and think about doing that, they could probably do a whole bunch of things. And that might come from some other life form teaching people how to do certain things that lead to some type of other type of entity. I believe in God. Do I believe that I can't limit him? I believe in him, so therefore he can create life wherever he wants, some other type of life that we've never even seen before.
Yes.
I got to give it to him.
Yes.
Did man walk on the moon during the Apollo? Did human do the moonwalk on the moon during the Apollo program?
No. No. Listen, I can't listen. Right now they're sending pictures from Mars, right? In color. I can't even keep a phone signal. If I call you on the phone, please, my phone gonna break up.
Hey bros, what's going on? This is Cotton. Be sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, because subscribing makes you feel good.
Do you still have them? Not mine.
I'ma be the one. I'ma be the one when I'm done.
That's right. Make it anywhere. Welcome back to the Self Luv Show. Hope y'all enjoyed that video, because man, Vernon Lynch, my man, super solid. Check that one out. Promise you, it will be enlightening. But today we're Self Luv Show asking a very serious question. Why are black women, so-called black women, least likely to be married in America? We had a lot of discussion, and now we're going to expand it even further.
Yes, sir. Big ups to Trife Mac.
Yes, sir.
Big ups. This one is called Anywhere. So y'all check that out when y'all get a chance. We're gonna jump into the second half of this segment and keep it pushing. We had a comment from DJ J Grilla. You gotta drop the second J's. You know what I mean? I'm gonna call you on that. DJ Grilla. You know what I mean? But he's DJ J Grilla, I understand. He said a lot of peeps have a fantasy view of marriage. He thinks that affects the want, quote, end quote, to be married. It takes a whole lot of work, for real. Absolutely. And the one thing I'm going to add to that, it takes a whole lot of work to be single, depending on your lifestyle. You know, juggling this and juggling that. But I agree, DJ Grilla. I agree with your premise. So, yeah. All right, so we're in the second half, and we're going to jump it right off then. Welcome back, everybody. Black men, and you kind of hit on this in your initial statement, Brother Creamer. Black men, and also check out his book entitled "The Soul." Who stole the soul? Who stole the soul? The weaponization of hip hop. You can get it on Amazon, and support this brother. He unpacked a whole lot in that book. I meant to send it to the Nation of Islam, which I have not done. I have to put that on my list so that they can add that into their reading, because he did all of the research and laid it out there for you. So let's jump into it. All right. So we got, and it's written by Bernard Creamer. All right.
Thank
Bernard
you,
No Creamer. All right.
That was cute, man. That was cute.
Yeah, that's what I call him, Bernard No Creamer. All right. Black men, endangered species versus the successful black men who are quote unquote unicorns. How does this, so the limited number of unicorns and then versus the endangered species, how would you think, so if you flip it, and if many black women, a great majority, were incarcerated or couldn't find work due to their, the mark of the beast on their record, and then, there are very few black women unicorns, how would this be factoring into the scenario of black women who are looking for serviceable mates? Throw it to you, Bernard, and then we'll throw it to Self Love.
But I respect sisters that understand that we're at war again. I'm always going to go back to that. And with that, there are some people, not just black people, that I necessarily believe in prisons. That's a European society thing. We didn't have prisons prior to the meeting up with these European folk, but
Facts.
Prisons are a result of crime and they're a result of capitalism. So I respect sisters that understand that there are a lot of brothers that get caught up in this system, in this war, that wind up being incarcerated and come out and have to struggle or whatever as a result of all of that. And that's all on purpose. But some sisters will literally, some black men as well, will not hire or whatever and just literally just basically erase black men because they've been incarcerated or they have these marks on their record. I got the degrees now. I got, the keys to assimilation and integration now, but I was literally a couple of words away from basically just walking out of a jail today a while ago. I'll just say that. And so when I hear sisters talking about, all these brothers in jail and locked up and this and that, I just kind of I turned off because I was literally I was that, you know what I mean? I was literally one decision away from being that. And so we got to get away from judging each other based on these marks that are being ascribed to us from the system. It's not doing us any good. And to piggyback off of that thought, one of the things I was going to try to bring up too was that one of the reasons that we're not getting married is because a lot of us are not seeing the marriage situation as being economically feasible.
Facts.
That is not a good thing at all. You know what I mean? We're literally commodifying our relationships. We're commodifying each other. He's not marriable because he doesn't make a certain amount of money. I wouldn't marry no chick because she works in Walgreens and this and that. All of that is utter nonsense. And so that's this elitism is divisive, and it just basically speaks to us being integrated into the system where everything has been commodified. Everything has a fiat value to it. Our relationships are not organic anymore. We just look at somebody in terms of, can he afford to, sustain us as a household versus can we build together to sustain us, regardless of what amount of money or what job either one of us has, can we take care of one another? Can we raise kids healthily? That should be the issue, not whether you can get 2 BMWs or whatever, or a 4-car garage. Because as we see, even among our peer groups, that stuff don't mean nothing when it comes to living with someone and looking at spending the rest of your lifetime with somebody. Your consumption capacity, how much fiat you can accumulate, that ain't got nothing to do with people staying together at the end of the day, but that is tossed at us through TV, through radio, through these streams, that's what you should be looking for. The other thing I was gonna bring up, and I know you was gonna bring it up a little bit later on, and I'll bring it up because it's affected me personally. Not even in Chicago. Chicago's the only place that hasn't impacted me, but in Dallas and in DC, me not being a believer, or being a Christian or whatever has kept me from being in a long-term relationship. Two of them that would have resulted in marriage had I gotten saved. I literally had a girl. We was literally talking about, moving together. Two girls at least, one in Dallas and one here in DC. Talking about getting married, talking about this and that, and both of them was almost like it was programmed, like the COINTELPRO was in my life or something. But they was both like, it was almost like scripted, like, well, I love you and this and that, but if you don't get saved, such and such, and just cut it short, because that's not who I am. That's not what I'm about. People think that you not being religious and not being a believer is just something that you just a knee-jerk reaction to something. And they don't understand it. I've literally been studying for 30 years on this. I mean, I'm the only person, me and my cousin Richard, who have taken that route and walked away from the piety in our family. And it's cost, you know what I mean? Like, I ain't invited to nothing no more. My father, he harbors this disdain for me because I don't believe in Jesus Christ, because he grew up in a super religious household. But take that angst and that derision and apply it to some of the women that I might have dated. And I literally tell them, like, I don't want to talk about religion or politics in the first couple of dates because you need to get to know who I am first before you get to having those conversations with me. Know me first before you seek to know something that I chose as a attachment to myself. And just to take what Malcolm X said, I mean, he said it himself. If you keep bringing religion into everything, we can't come to the table as Black nationalists. We'll never get there because there's always going to be arguments. There's always going to be fights over these religions and stuff. Leave it at home. And the same thing can be applied to these religions. If we can't come to the table as African men and African women, and we're bringing all this other stuff to the table, that's just another mechanism to basically serve to divide us. It truly is. And I wouldn't be able to say it if I wasn't living it.
He unpacked a lot. Yeah, you cats, you women out there, and Suki, jump in the chat. Links in the if you can. The links in the pinned at the top of the chat. You unpacked a lot. Any single women out there, hit me in the comments and I can link you up with this brother. It's a good brother. Self Love, I want you to comment on the endangered species, being Black men are endangered species, and versus a limited number of successful Black men, who are quote unquote unicorns that a lot of these women are looking for. And Bernard, and I agree with his premise 100%. I think what's the noob that passed away that used to talk to single Black women? He had the podcast.
Kevin.
Oh, Kevin Samuels.
Yeah, well, you don't have to agree with everything, all right? But he would be talking about this.
No, you'd have to, yes, you really have to listen to him because he,
yeah.
You if you only saw the clips, then that was just the highlights. But mainly his conversations were positive and they were great, and he was moving the conversation, letting people, because he went off on men first, saying you gotta get yourself together, and nobody listened. And then we got one call, one show, and then stuff started blowing up like 4-5 years in.
But rest in peace to Kevin Samuel. Go ahead, Self, though. Just send this brother some clips on your time. But go ahead and address
No, you don't.
Go ahead and address the question.
Clips is, yes.
I'm messing with you, man.
No, it's
go
all
ahead.
Good. Yeah, I hadn't lost my train of thought.
Endangered species and a limited number of Black professionals or successful Black men who aren't breaking the law. How do you think this plays into Black women not being married?
I actually think it's some BS because they're men out. They out earn women, and the Black women are getting certain positions, but they're not in mass getting the higher positions. I think the statistics that will bear that out, that they get to higher management, but they don't get up to any
very few the pinnacle, and I think it's probably more Black men that are.
Okay. All right. So we're gonna push this forward if that's all you had on that. Here's a big one. I think this is a whale. I wanted to definitely get this before this brother had to leave. Malcolm X had some comments on this topic. The late great Malcolm X. So I want to ask you, gentlemen, and Self Love and I, we did a whole show on this. Women's liberation. How do you think the liberal white women's liberation movement could be affecting our women in their plight, to find a good mate? I started with Self, then I throw it to Bernard.
Well, yeah, the feminist movement at large has caused a lot of disruption in our relationships, intentionally done by government programs. They just made up somebody being the Black feminist, had a book and movie about her. And pushed the whole agenda. So there's been a lot of disruption, as Bernard has said, that we at war, and that's what that's about.
All right, y'all. I'm gonna throw it to Bernard, but here's a song here, No Scrubs. I don't think this was good for our community.
No.
Maybe and maybe I was a scrub, but it's on this because we better stop that before we get booted. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Man, the reality is we all scrubs. If you're a member of an oppressed race, the most marginalized and oppressed, subjugated race on the planet, we are all scrubs. There are no alpha males or alpha females on a losing team.
So there's no MVPs of the league on the team that's at the last in the rankings.
We need to all be fighting like we fighting for a position.
Facts.
In terms of white liberalism and feminism, that was a con.
Yes.
Where white liberals pretty much sucked in our Black women. This is during the 60s when we needed our women to stand with us and battling the oppression that was impacting all of us, our families, our communities. And so they siphoned off the energy from that with women.
Same time with the welfare. Same time with the welfare, removing the man.
Based off the issues they were having with their men, have historically had with their men, dealing with the misogyny of white males from Greco-Roman times. They've been dealing with hate from their men. Even to this day, living in this country, here, this Greco-Roman country, that still hasn't seen a white woman president at the helm. They're still dealing with the same woman hate. And so they've ascribed some of that. We've actually, Black men have actually been infected with this white male misogyny as a result of being here, as a result of being a subculture under this umbrella. So we've taken on some of these misogynistic ways, and we treat our women poorly and unfairly. We've started calling our women B words and H words and this sort of thing, treating our women just like they've treated their women historically. But the main issue is Black men have at no time in history had the power in this country to oppress women, white or Black. And so in order for a movement to need to be erected to battle Black male oppression, Black men would have to have control of institutions that impact Black women. White men have control of those institutions. We don't have a say-so in Black women oppression beyond calling them B's and H's and that sort of thing, putting our hands on them and that sort of thing. But in terms of them not being able to get jobs, in terms of them going to school, in terms of them getting medical care, in terms of their children being murdered in the streets, that sort of thing. We don't have a control of that. That's a white woman issue. And so our women being sucked into that, just like we got black men out here that want to be white liberals. And so our white women got conned into it. Black men are being conned in it too. The black men that think that Obama was a hero, that think that corny dude on what's the comedian show? What's the light skinned dude with the afro from South Africa?
Trevor Noah.
Oh yeah,
Trevor
he's not
Noah.
even from. He's not even. Trevor Noah.
He's a white.
Yes.
He's a white liberal, and so you got white men, black men out here too that pretty much have absorbed a lot of this liberalism, and liberalism is right up there with fascism, white fascism and white pathology. It's literally right there. It's a con, and so our women got conned into that in the '60s, and we're still dealing with that. They think that black men are the enemy, but they can't see. These women that have been sucked into this movement can't see beyond the black man to the white man that's pulling all the strings.
White women didn't even want black women involved in that movement. Trying to think of the great black female leader.
They wanted them they needed their numbers.
Yeah.
Once they got what they needed, then they got rid of them.
They moved them in. They decided on this young black chick and made her the leader of the feminist movement.
I'm trying to think of somebody who they prop up there. It's a black woman, and she had to go up there and say, "I am a woman, aren't I?" You know, and you know what I mean? So, yeah. God, I wish I could think of her name, but she's somebody they propped up there. All right, so, yeah, go ahead, bro.
You said in the 60s?
Yep, it was in the 60s. Yep, it was in the 60s.
It'll come to me when we get off, it'll come to me. I mean, I got some time, man. I'm up. I usually don't go to bed till about 12 o'clock, so y'all got about at least another 30 minutes out of me if y'all gonna be on.
No, that's good. That's good. We should be able to get through it. Yeah, my thoughts, since we did a whole show on women's liberation, to your point about liberalism, you know, there's a lot of shows on, you know, like The View and, you know, different shows where you have this female consciousness or this female thought, and sometimes it doesn't jibe with black thought. Most times it doesn't jibe with black thought. And I feel like many of our women have gotten sucked into that. You know, don't get me started on Love and Hip Hop and all those different type of shows and the wives of this and I think that's affecting our community. But back to the women's liberation movement, you know, you've been saying we're at war, and to your point that black men aren't in control, which is how we can never be racist right now. We've been at war, and if we're at war, we need all hands on deck, and that's black men, women, and children working together as a solid unit, as opposed to we're going to fight this battle as women, you know, as opposed to we're going to fight this battle as black people. And I think that kind of got in between. It created a wedge between the relationships between the black man and his woman in the home. Not saying YouTube or anybody who wants to flag this video that, you know, we're about, you know, abusing women, children, or abusing men. But no one's saying that.
Anything like that.
We're just saying that there was a programming that took place there. This is just my opinion, which created a wedge within the black family. So I'm putting women's liberation. You know, you guys can put it in the chat if you want. I'm putting women's liberation as part of the reasons why our women are having trouble finding black mates. So tonight's topic is, why are black women the least likely to be married? Self Love, this was number one on your list. Section 8 in the welfare mandates that came through was at the 60s, late 60s. Yeah, so, or maybe early 70s. So essentially, the black man, the black father, was pushed out of the house in order to receive these benefits, where at the same time, the white farmer was not pushed out of the house in order to receive farm aid. So it became advantageous for many black women, because it wasn't all of them, Well, they had to, pretty much, though. I mean, there was literally people who would come by and do, pop-ups, checks and see, is there a man in the house? Do they have any man's shoes and clothes? And men would have to run out the back door and things of that nature.
Madness.
Complete madness. So how much do you think now this isn't to say that all black families are on welfare. This isn't to say that.
Not at all.
Not at all, but there's a majority of people on welfare are white, but poor whites. I mean, that's fact. But there's a great percentage of us who receive these benefits, is what I'm trying to say. And so if you can have an apartment as opposed to being in the projects, if you can get a check every month, and all you got to do is get rid of this man who probably doesn't have a job, and if he does, he's working at Walgreens or Burger King or something like that. I'll start with you, Bernard. How do you think this is playing? In fact, this is all part of the war that we need to realize that we're at war right now. This is all part of the war that we got to realize that we're at right now. But how do you think this is playing a part in some of these decisions being made by our women?
Well, I'm gonna interject. I'm one of the number one receiver of welfare corporations. The Walmart.
Facts, and banks. Facts.
The military, all of the Boeing, all of those companies or whatever. That's where most of the welfare money is going to, subsidizing and all of that business. But in terms of household decisions being made, I mean, in actuality, man, and again, this is all, we're captives here, man. And we've been put in positions, unfortunately, where a lot of people had to survive off of welfare. That's a reality. And so while welfare, that policy of the man having to go, that's real. That definitely didn't do us any good. It wasn't a plus, but them removing welfare without the jobs being in place, without another means of subsistence, that rendered a lot of people homeless too. So it's kind of like welfare is necessary, especially in a capitalist society where it's necessary for so many people to be poor. You don't have rich people unless you have very poor people. That's literally a mathematical equation. Like you can literally do the stats on that. In order to have the Bill Gates and the
you gotta have a bunch of poor people.
You gotta have a gang
for
of
capitalism to exist.
Exactly. You got these people at Walmart that are not making enough to afford an apartment, but they can't get welfare. They have to work 2 jobs sometimes. They have no benefits. And these people don't want them to organize into a union because then they'll have to pay them a working wage, which is absolutely insane. Amazon right now, they're organizing right now to form unions just so they can get paid enough to barely be able to subsist with 2 jobs wherever they live. Like you can't live in DC unless you're making about $70,000-$80,000 a year. You can't live right outside of DC.
You can't live in LA without 100 sacks. But go ahead, bro.
Yeah, you can't do it. So welfare is a necessity in the capitalist system, which is pretty effing sad. But just imagine how much money, juxtapose the money that poor white and black moms are getting versus what Walmart is getting, what the military is getting, what's his name, Tesla's getting to open up these factories in these little small towns right outside of DC and stuff. So if that money was being poured into
who
education,
got the PPP loans, that's just
that's
forgiving,
enough right
like,
there. Yeah.
Like whoa.
So it don't hurt
teams like
it don't hurt this country to give away welfare money to poor people. But it does hurt them to put people in a position to succeed, to be able to subsist from themselves. And so welfare as a system, I mean, it's actually a necessary component of capitalism, but it shouldn't have to be. With that being said, though, yeah, in our situations with the rules the way they are, I guess it's safe to say it did contribute to a lot of men not being in the home. And again, I'll never word it in a way that says that it was a woman's decision or a man's decision, because these are decisions that are being forced on both of us. We're surviving. None of us are thriving in this piece. We surviving.
That was the whole thing. Like it was enforced that, where the farmers were encouraged to, have big families and so they can deal with the land. They they was like, no, he can't even be here.
Right. Yeah, they was
Shit.
subsidized.
And a lot of that was still in the projects.
Yeah.
To be in even the projects. That's where the motherfucker was. Well, pardon me, the way that they were able to police the whole situation, because they can just go.
And what's gonna happen if you put people on top of people on top of people on top of people, and they're all impoverished?
Well, they already
Like
knew
you
what they
literally,
was gonna do.
like you cooking with fire. I mean, they knew exactly what they were doing. I mean, they had
they
before
did.
there was a
They
black
did
ghetto. There was
experiments on that.
Yeah, with
exactly.
rats.
Before there was a black ghetto, there was a Jewish ghetto. The
Yeah.
word ghetto didn't come from black people. That came from Jews living in Europe. So they basically
Wherever
just applied the
Jews
same
were,
scenario.
they called it ghettos. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they just applied the same formula to us living here in these cities. We thought we was migrating for better opportunities, a better chance, whatever, but we literally just running away from Jim Crow to a situation where we're being hyper exploited even more. So what happened to those factories that we migrated here for, up north for? Where are they now? And so that was a
In
setup.
China. They're in China and other places.
Exactly. So we like nomads in this piece. You know what I mean? And wherever we migrate to, like wildebeest, like antelopes, we get preyed on.
The lost tribe of Judah.
Well, I don't subscribe to all that, but yeah.
We the lost. Well, I'll just say we're a lost tribe. I'll just put it that way.
Shit, we right here.
And we've been here.
Yeah, we right. But that's y'all want to have a hold of the show. We can go on that show and we can do that conversation.
Yeah, because we've been here.
Yeah, we got to get this strike off before we can get there. But definitely, it's coming in 90 days. All right, because we had a strike, man. So the man, we got a strike for a 9/11 video we did. And so if we get another strike in 90 days, we'll be suspended for long. The man is just, wielding the man's control. That's what the man does. Big ups to you.
If I say a few choice words or whatever, I can pretty much bang y'all show off the air right now if I just say some things.
Yeah, you could. You actually could. I mean,
I wouldn't.
Yeah. I know you wouldn't, bro.
This far into the show. There's no highlight.
All right, but here we go. Here we go, because I want to get into advice, because we already talked about, so we're wrapping it up. We already talked about the whole I am independent, I make my own money, don't tell me how to spend it. I don't want no scrub. That's a bit of programming, I think, because if we're all scrubs, then what are you going to do? You're going to be independent. But none of us are independent in America.
Not a single one of us.
Not a single one of us. So
Not
that
even
all
Kanye.
being said, we're going to have to do a show on Ye. Ye was in Self Luv's crib. We used to kick it with Ye back in the day before he was Ye. He was always Kanye, but I always knew something was wrong. Not wrong, but I always knew he had some sort of imbalance. He was just different. You know how you know what I mean? He was just different.
Can you say he's a little goofy? Because he seemed a little goofy to me.
Yeah,
I never met the dude, but he's weird as hell to me.
He had no interest. That's how he came off as weird, and he had no interest in, not knocking him, but no interest in what was going on in the studio. He was just focused on his music. Okay. And stealing from Tory's brother, stealing techniques from Tory's brother. But he didn't have any interest in females. He had no interest in, taking a drink. The stuff that a normal, 15-year-old might be into. You know what I'm saying? But he was just, I even asked Tory, like, what's up with dude? Like, he just seemed like he was, I don't want to say short bus, but just different. He was always different to me. And the money just exacerbated it, bro. But let's push on. So we're all about solutions. So first, I want you brothers to advise black men, because, we're the second least likely demographic to be married. Not that married is some sort of prize or goal, but just for the sake of the family. Advise black men on how we should move for this black woman. And then I want to advise black women next. So you got any advice for black men, Bernard?
Stop blaming black women for the manifestations and symptoms of a war that's impacting both of us. I'm very tired of that. Both ways, stop blaming each other for what's happening to both of us.
Oh yeah, because black women are victims too.
Exactly. So stop blaming women. Step up. Like, you know what I mean? Like, one of our biggest issues is, you just said it's all about solutions, but how can you solve a problem if you don't understand the problem? If you don't, you don't have an ideology, you have no foundation, you haven't read anything, you're not seeking to grow yourself mentally, cognitively, you can't solve anything. And so if you're supposed to be a protector, a leader in your community and your household, this and that, it's not about just how much money you bring in or what kind of car you drive. No one cares about that at the end of the day. At the end of the day, all you are is a hyper consumer that's been given access to fiat to make white people rich, who already control the means of production. You're a tool. And so stop being an effing tool. Step up, read, cultivate yourself ideologically, read the books of the ancestors that they felt had to die or be incarcerated. Read those books, teach your children, teach the community, lead your community, and get out there and basically stand up. So one of the reasons, man, I'm gonna be painfully honest with you right now, and I don't know who's listening, but I had to get out of Chicago because being in a city where our kids are literally dying by the dozen every weekend, and juxtaposing that with being around a whole bunch of black men with degrees and this and that and access to fiat to be able to organize and build whatever programs we need, but opting to just stand around every weekend smoking cigars and drinking cognac, and pretending like we've won something, like we won a championship or something. And our kids are dying literally by the dozens. And this is what you all have is activity or something that we should be engaging in right now, while our kids are dying, while our women are dying, while women are disappearing to the tune of 70,000 a year, while they're calling us every type of degrading name on the radio every single day, every hour of the day. And we can't even organize to walk down to the studio to knock on the door and tell them to stop playing our music, because if they were calling Jews kites and heaves on the radio, Jews would march down there and they would shut it down. If the F word came out on the radio about the rainbow community would march down to the radio stations and shut it down. We are the most degraded, devalued, dehumanized, criminalized people on this planet, but we don't have a reaction beyond following our sports teams to different cities and standing around smoking cigars and drinking cognac.
Self did not say the exact same thing, but go ahead, bro. Go ahead.
Man, it irritates me to my core. Thanks. I mean, and that's being in the city of Chicago, where it's literally corrupt politically, like on both sides. Like, it's from the streets on up. Chicago is terrible politically. And I'm just watching, what's about to happen in the next election. Like, it's horrible. You see the same clowns stepping up to the plate to do the same stuff that's been done to us for the last few decades, just so they can make a little extra money. But I couldn't be among it anymore. When you love so many people and you watching us do nothing, you know what I mean? Like, it impacted me. So I would rather be out here with a couple of my friends where I spend most of my time by myself with my thoughts. And I dip in and out of the city when I please. But to get back into your question, man, we have to step up and stop scapegoating our women and step up. Step the F up. I ain't gonna cuss. I want to keep y'all show on the air and everything, but step the F up.
Man up and stand up. And before you leave, I'm gonna have you comment on advice you give to the sisters, but I'm gonna throw it to Self Love, and then I'm gonna throw some advice out there for our brothers. Go ahead, Self Love.
We're in a situation where we have to step into the position that we should hold. And that's working together at this point. It's the only way it can unfold. It's beyond crazy to think we could advance through all this trauma, but we have even after the BS from Obama. You know? So we have to see some sense of mentorship and get it where we can get, because the media is not going to put it out here for us. We need to have some mentorship in between. It's got to be the way to fill in the gaps.
Well, gear these thoughts more towards our relationship with Black women.
In a lot of cases, you got to be in support mode. The way the system is set up is pushing them forth to be more because they earn less. And we got to be able to get what we need together as opposed to who earn more, and work together more. There's been a lot of maternal leadership. And it has resulted how it resulted.
Well, here's what I'm going to say to the Black men out there, and I'll be as candid as possible because it's as succinct and straightforward as I could be. The same pain, if not more, that we experience, the same stuff that we go through on a day-to-day basis as we just live our everyday life in America is being experienced by our women. I would say, challenge yourself. It's okay to be compassionate. Challenge yourself to find some overstanding. Some may say understanding. And I'm just speaking in terms of relationships with our women. Our women are strong out of necessity. Most women would love to submit to you. But you got to stand up and man up. Your woman is not your mother. Your woman is not your daughter. Your woman is your mate. So as much patience as you would like for the Black woman and forgiveness that you would like for the Black woman to display upon you, you'd have to be willing to give that same amount of patience and understanding to your woman. There was a comment made in the chat about women need security. We have to provide that for our sisters during this war. You have to be aware that there is a man putting a hole in the boat and simply bailing the water out is not going to keep your boat from sinking.
Thanks.
So stand up, man up, get your head right, and that's all I got. I'm gonna throw it to Bernard, man. I want you to talk to our sisters out here.
Knock out the guy putting the hole in the boat.
Well, that's ultimately, yes, I'm glad you're saying that. I mean, ultimately that's the solution. You got to get rid of the guy that's, making the hole in the boat. That's ultimately the solution. But I'm gonna throw it to Bernard, man. From your experience, your relationships with, our women, what is it that, what understanding can you embark upon them to help them deal with us?
Man, I would say I always bring it back to what advice we can give to each other. I think the best relationship is one in which two people grow together, with the understanding that we both need to grow and that we both are fighting the same struggle. And if we don't figure this out together, and then we doomed to fail. And again, our failure is something that it expands to the community as well. So, in terms of whatever kids we might be raising or whatever kids might be watching us, that we try to provide as much of a solid structure in terms of what a Black man or Black woman should be as possible, a beacon of light for them to look up to and for them to become a better version or just the best versions of themselves based on what they saw us doing. But as far as imparting the advice to our women, I mean, I feel their struggle in terms of dealing with us. And I definitely understand, you know what I mean? But I just want them to be patient with us as we are being patient with them, and understand that, we are both dealing with a lot of hell right now. And we're dealing with it together. We can't figure out how to deal with it together, then we're doomed.
Well said, brother. You sound like Self Love over there. Brother Wordsmith, go ahead and chime in for our sisters out here, and then I'm going to chime in.
We got to work together. The enemy is putting you in a position,
propping you up.
Yes, that has you, along with the media, completely propped up. Like, y'all listening to people who are married in relationship with people making music that ain't even real. And that's what you're basing a lot of this on. And what's real is real, and what ain't really ain't. Because a lot of our elders set the generation off without not needing a man. Is that true? You need to check, because there are a lot of real relationships that most of you see and have seen. And I, like my brother down has said for sure to my side, that can't blame man or woman, but we need each other. And that's what has to happen. We got to get back together and grow our family, our community, our world.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you brothers have a common theme, working together, and I can't discount that one bit. Let me speak. I've been married since 2000. One thing about, thank you, brother. One thing about my wife, I don't like to say hold me down, because that's like drowning me. But she allows me to be me, which is important. She's supportive at all times. So what I would suggest to the women, to our women, lift your man up. And this is what these gentlemen have said. It's kind of going both ways. You don't know what a brother's going through, whether you're a mom, a sister, a girlfriend, a wife, because many of us, and maybe I should have said this to the men, express yourself, but many of us don't express all of the day-to-day drama and obstacles that we're dealing with. Just have an understanding that you should be supportive at all times. Secondly, have an understanding that we are at war. Stop selling out. Stop shucking and jiving. Stop running to the Gucci store. Somebody probably wouldn't be upset if you went to a black business and bought a purse created by a black designer or something.
Statusnote.com. Cheesy plug.
Facts.
Cheesy plug.
For those of you women who may be earning more money than your man, I'll ask you a rhetorical question. If your man earned more money than you, would that give your black man the right to demand that you be submissive and to demand that he makes all the rules and the decisions? If the answer to that is yes, then keep moving how you're moving. A woman is a good thing. A wife is a good thing. So be a good thing. And that starts within. Build yourself up, learn about yourself, get to know knowledge of self. And you have to love yourself before you can love a black man. Most important. Lastly, stop raising baby boys. If you happen to be a single mom, let's get your sons around mentors, black men. If their father is a positive person and you guys just couldn't get along, make sure that their father is in their life. Stop having your ego trip where the father's not important enough to be in the son's life. I'd say daughters too, because he has to protect his daughter, but I'm just talking about the baby boy syndrome. Because what happens is, not ignoring the fathers who just gave up or what have you, you're offering them to be this mentor and they're not doing it. But what's happening is we're perpetuating this cycle. And so now these young boys are being raised not knowing how to be men. So that would be my advice to our women. You can express yourself, be respectful. And if that man is not respectful towards you, then that's not your man. You can express your disdain, but be respectful. That's all I had with my advice to black women.
Yeah. Be a father to your child, man.
Man.
Put that on top of that. Period.
Yes.
Because these women shouldn't have to be taking these young men to barbershops and stuff like that. Shouldn't have to see that. Not that I'm in the barbershop these days, but when I was going, I'm just saying.
Yes, Ed OG and the Bulldogs. Be a father to your child.
Yes, sir. I think that was about the only song he had.
It was. It was the only song.
No,
Self Love always says he had other stuff. Name one other song.
Right
Name
now.
one.
Don't Google. Do not Google.
I
It's
won't
something always.
Google, but I'm a lyricist, so I listen to lyrics, and he
Okay,
had
give us
more
that lyrically laced
Right.
tune.
Throw that nugget
Hey,
out. Throw it out
y'all
there.
brought up NOG. I ain't thought about NOG.
Yeah.
You just said he had a bunch of cuts. So
A bunch of something.
I didn't say no bunch of nothing. Here y'all go.
NOG and the Bulldogs had one song.
Yeah, they had a couple songs. I can't think of the name of it, but there was
Of
another
course
one.
you can. Of course you can.
Shit, I wouldn't have thought of that one until y'all brought it up. And that's my whole point. So shit.
Man, Haywood played that at ATL's neophyte about 1,000 times. Russ Haywood Miller. So
yeah. That's why y'all know that. But I'm telling you, it was a couple more songs. I can't think of them. That he was even
we'll
out.
give you do me a favor then and send them to me tomorrow morning.
He's
you can
not.
find them. Just send me 3 songs that he did. That
No, I ain't say it was 3 songs. It was a couple songs.
Hey, he's not.
He can.
He's right. I can, but he's right.
All right, so let's do this, and that way you could bounce out, brother. Go ahead and give me your final words on this topic, Bernard, and then you're free to go, bro. We appreciate you doing this too, sir.
In closing, we got work to do, men and women. We got to love each other. We got to ignore these external influences, the media, the politics, liberals, Democrats, Republicans, all of this nonsense that they feeding us, that basically feeds into preserving the status quo, which sees us at this bottom rung, being manipulated, exploited, as cash cows in this country. All we have is each other, literally. I mean, last words I would leave is we all we got. And that ain't just a just a statement, just some words. We literally are all we got. And if we don't realize that, then we ain't gonna be here.
Man, well said. Well said. Hey, bro, I appreciate you more, man. You always welcome on the Self Love Show. And
Yes,
y'all cop this man's book. You can catch it on Amazon. Who Stole the Soul?
No, don't you dare go to Amazon and get my book. It's on
Where should they
Amazon.
go, bro?
Statusnote.com. It's on Amazon, but go to statusnote.com.
Statusnote.com. He got more than just that book. He got, children books. He's got a whole lot of apparel that will enlighten your whole situation. So
Yes, sir.
check him out on Know Thyself, and man, get it.
Much love, brothers. I'm going
Love,
to
honor,
preach.
respect. Love,
All right, man.
honor, respect.
Hey,
Y'all
keep your
be
head
easy,
up,
man.
brother.
Yes, sir. Y'all do likewise.
Absolutely.
All right. Till next time.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely. He always brings it, bro.
Every time.
Always brings it. All right, so my final words is we're at war. Has been stated many times. We're not making excuses, we're just giving rationale. Awareness is key. If you're not aware that you're at war, then you have no chance in coming out on top and ending the war. Be respectful, something self-love and I always says to one another. Love yourself and love one another. That's all I had for, my final words on this topic.
For sure.
You got any words, Self?
I mean, I've stated a lot on the topic, so yeah, my final words is gonna be the final words.
All right. He's saving it for Wordsmith's final words out there. But we did have a dome teaser today, and we appreciate everybody chiming in on this particular topic. We're going to do a part 2. Hopefully we can have a panel with at least one female or multiple females. So we gave everybody short notice. We'll work on it, see if we can put that together. But the next topic is why are black men the second least likely to be married in America?
Yeah, well,
that's part 2.
Yeah, we struck on that too, but not really.
Yeah, we did. It's all layered. But
no way one without the other.
Right. It's exactly. So today's riddle is: the more you take away, the more I become. What am I? The more you take away, the more I become. I see the chat was lazy mentally. Didn't have the wherewithal to dig it deep inside their mental capacities and type in the solution. So it comes down to Self Love, who typed in his response, which I did verify was correct. But Self Love, what's the key to that particular riddle?
The more you take away, the more I am is a whole.
That's right.
H-O-L-E, a whole.
How'd you come up with that there, fella? I saw you struggling for a minute.
Well, you know, wasn't really struggling. I didn't know until I knew, because someone told me. You know,
interesting.
My higher self, I subscribe to. That's what told me.
So that is the key. He's 100% correct. A whole. Interesting. I thought I'd stump you on that. I had you for a minute, though.
Yeah, I mean, it was like, oh, I ain't never heard this before. And I'm like, oh. It was like, bling! Actually, okay, now we're into something. The pace and how you said it the third time.
You picked up on something. Yeah, you be picking my mind, which is understandable. Sharuka asked if he had a website. He gave it. We'll have to type it in the chat. Is it the something no? What's the website, Self?
No, that's Self, I think. Hold on.
No, that's not it. Sharuka, I'll review the video and then I'll type it in the comments. The big no or something.
I just said it. Hold on.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I'll text him. And get it. See if we can get it. What is the website? I'll see if I can get a link. You guys like, share, subscribe. Like, share, subscribe. So I'll drop the link. If I don't get it back from them in time to put it in the live chat, it'll be in the comments once this live ends. It'll be posted into the comments accordingly. So did you come up with it, Sal?
Nope.
All right. Well, we'll get it. Pretty sure he'll respond. And let's see here. All right. So we did our riddle. We gave you guys the key because you didn't come up with it. Okay, I'm going to type it in here. Statusno.com.
That's right.
Status. So it's probably going to be www because he would have told us it was the dark web.
Yeah. We know it ain't the dark web. He's not dealing with that.
Let's see. Status. KNO.com. All right, so that's it. Oh, I typed it wrong. Hold on. www. Status. KNO.
Gonna fix it up. It's gonna be correct.
I almost did it wrong twice. The S button must be sticking. Oh, that's right. Status no. I had it right.
Yes.
Statusno.com.
Yeah.
So that's right. You guys, I'll pin that to the top of the chat. So his website is pinned to the top of the chat where you can get his books. And then so self-love, let's go ahead with our continuation. Next week, you guys, on the Self Love Show, 6 p.m. 6 p.m. Pacific time, 8 p.m. Chicago time on Wednesday. We are covering the history of the N-word self. The N-word out there.
Uh-oh.
Who should use it? Should it be used? Should we can the N-word? The origin, the derivatives. That's what we're going to be breaking down next week. Right here on the Self Love Show. What say you?
I am looking forward to that conversation. Because it's uh-oh. Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Work it.
Oh.
Work it. Doodoo Brown. That's Chicago house music.
Y'all check us out next week, because whoa.
That is the topic. So we definitely would love to hear from everybody regarding that particular topic. And then tomorrow on Mouthpiece Included, all are welcome to pull up. We always have hot topics covering politics. That's right here on TATN. TATN. 9 p.m. Chicago time, 7 p.m. on the left coast. Should NBA players supplement the WNBA player salaries?
NBA players?
Correct. Should NBA players supplement the WNBA players' salaries? Lisa Leslie was in a podcast and she suggested, she did.
Not the organizations.
Hey, you know what I mean?
The players.
Yeah. So
it's provocative.
Well, I mean, it's kind of along the lines of this topic we covered tonight. You know what I mean?
I mean, if you marry a NBA player, then probably that would do it, right?
It would be supplemental. That's for sure. It would definitely be supplemental. So that's our topic on Mouthpiece Included. And if you do pull up, don't forget your what?
Don't forget your mouthpiece.
Don't forget to bring your mouthpiece. Now you'll be sure to get all wet.
TATN.
All right, enough of my personal yapping out there. We're going to turn it over to this brother to my right for my personal favorite part of the whole shebang, and that's Wordsmith's final words out there.
Man. There are a lot of reasons why we are the less married. The statistics bear it because it's got a lot of merit, because we have been disenfranchised since we were property. They could tell you what you do, with who you do, and how you do it, even the reason why.
Flesh.
They propped up our women.
whole time while they made a transition. If your man act too bold, he get his nuts cut off, emasculated in front of the whole fold.
The Emasculation Proclamation.
It's still going on. The media do it now. Don't you know it's the truth? Ask yourself the question, is this a fair and living situation that you can only get welfare if you don't make nothing?
Nada.
Slavery still exists.
Check the 13th Amendment.
At the highest point. These private prisons bought it from the state. If they could exist at a 90% rate.
Facts.
It's all about not having the black, so-called black man there.
Extermination.
Act like we're so rare. At the same time, they got a negative birth rate. And bringing anybody that come into the United States and consider them as them. They've been the minority.
Minority Report.
We are the majority.
Major.
And to go back to the topic, I got off the state. Our women, you have to know that you're great. We have to come together to create a whole situation.
Facts.
To inflate or move together. It's the only way it can be. You gotta tough it through whatever.
One.
You're the apple of our eye. The reason why with our babies that we gonna fly and move out of this situation and take care and get rid of the white supremacy.
Original.
Words.
Be the prototype.
Yes.
Original. Black man. Man up. Stand up. All right. So, great job. Always great to hear from this brother. Blessing us. Check out Ka Zodiac. Kakamala.
Do you think you are the one? Honestly, I don't know.
I know.
You know what that means? Latin means know thyself.
Love yourself too. Bullets are boomerangs.
Stand your ground.
Murder is suicide.
Yeah, man. Eye for an eye.
Silence is violence, man.
See something, say something.
Squale, twirl. Woo, woo. Slave theory. Greed plus ego over fear. You've made a slave.
Yeah, man. Only redemption is charity plus humility times love. Freedom.
Freedom. Do not answer questions.
No question. At the same time, you better question everything that's presented in your cipher.
Flesh. Fear is cap. It's all an illusion.
It's really only love, so vibrate it.
Forgiveness is the highest love vibration.
That's fact. So, do something charitable for a so-called enemy and end the beef.
In the beef, go down there to the 12 station and take them some Dunkin' Donuts, Krispy Kremes, and Starbucks. You know, my elders used to say, healthy people heal people. Healthy people heal thy people.
Yeah, because for sure, hurt people, they gonna hurt people.
Free Hoove, man. Free Larry Hoover. Get him up out of there.
Free Chief Malik. Jeff Ford.
Free Angel. Free all the guys, man.
Yeah, facts, man. Prison is slavery. Literally.
And you could be like Yahusha. Like St. Pedro, keep your eyes on Yahusha, and you'll be walking on water too.
Yeah, man. Just move mountains. Just make shit happen.
Being the one is just
like that one right there.
No one can tell you you're in
that one.
The whole mountain?
Yeah, man. That one right there. Get right out the way, bro. It's doing it now. We doing this show. It's getting out the way in the process.